ladies and gentlemen, we're about to interview the one, the only Rock Thomas in some really powerful identity work and wisdom. So stay tuned. It's going to be epic. Before that, if you are an influencer, an entrepreneur, someone who's changing the world, you want to get your message out in a bigger way, send me an email. Would love to talk to you about being a guest on the 12-hour marathon, seeing what your journey, your story is, or if there was a way I can support you in addition to that with starting your own podcast, creating your own platform, or connecting you with one of these awesome guests like Rock or Michelle, who was just on, or any of these epic human beings. I'm happy to do that too. I love being a connector. So send me an email, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook, facebook.com/th3burns, or on Instagram @IamMillionaireChris. Would love to hear from you, hear about your mission and message. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and this week it's by Chaim K. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Like a nav system for your soul. This podcast is aptly named GPS. The majority of men and women lead lives without a map, without an overview of the big picture. This podcast will help you navigate through life and truly become your best possible self. 100% it will. And if you want to keep tuning in to this greatness, like Rock, like these amazing interviews, definitely subscribe on iTunes so you can keep getting those updates. And while you're there, give us some feedback. Let us know what you love about the show and what you want to see more of by giving us a review, give us a rating, and we super appreciate that. And keep growing yourself. Keep becoming your GPS. I'm proud of you. You're doing great work. Keep showing up. I'm going to introduce Rock in just a second here. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes because this guy is a powerhouse. He puts out viral videos. He's worked with the world's greatest people and is just on fire. So you definitely want to stay tuned. This is going to be an incredible interview full of wisdom, golden nuggets, practical exercises, and stories that are sure to inspire you to be your GPS. Let's introduce him, and then we will bring him on the screen for you. Rock Thomas, from humble beginnings that started on a farm just off the island of Montreal, Rock Thomas rose to the top to become a self-made millionaire. He then quickly realized that financial success is just a part of something much bigger. Thus, he embarked on a quest for knowledge from the best teachers on earth. And for years, Rock traveled the world to study with Deepak Chopra, Anthony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Robert Kiyosaki, and more. And with over 34 business streams of revenue, Rock's mission is to teach others how to become financially free and live an epic life on their terms. And we're blessed to have him here with us today. Rock, are you ready to rock the house, sir?
You know what? Your name and my name together, we're very funny, Chris Rock.
I love it, man. Thank you for being here today. Super appreciate it. You got tons of great things going on in the world. I appreciate you taking time to share with our audience about your journey and your wisdom and how you're truly being your greatest possible self today, man. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. The theme of the day today is live events that change lives. So we like to start it off with this theme, and we just want to hear your perspective on how have live events made a difference for you, either attending them or hosting them yourself.
Oh my God. Favorite subject. I mean, I've gone to hundreds and hundreds of events. I've averaged 28 trips the last 6 years. So it's almost 180 different trips in 6 years, of which the majority of them are events. And I'd say the biggest events happened for me in 2001 when I went to a UPW, actually a Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. Have you been to a Tony Robbins event?
I've never been yet.
So that's one that will impact and change your life unless you're completely numb and dead. He will shake you to the bone. He'll throw you on fire and change your limiting beliefs. So I think that as humans, even in social media today, we crave connection, and we don't get it in the real world. So where was I? Let's go by the airport. And what is everybody doing now at the airport? Looking
on
at their
phones. Yep.
Don't connect anymore. And for a while, 7-8 years ago, it was like, oh, okay, I guess he's on the phone. I won't bother him, and read a magazine. Now it's okay. Everybody at laptop, iPad, iPhone. So live events are going to supercharge your experience if you're open to it. I always say to people, there's 2 things you need if you want to really have success in all areas of your life. Number 1 is a rage for mastery. I don't care what it is. You want to be a master at playing chess? Have a rage for it. Have an obsession for it. What do you think Elvis did? What do you think Muhammad Ali did? Roger Federer. They have a rage for mastery. And the second piece is a level of curiosity. And that's why you go to events. When I go to events, I'm taking notes, I'm asking questions, I'm partaking, and I walk away fueled. It's a different story when you walk away, but if you go and you play full out, you will probably have some sort of a physical transformation, because transformation comes as a child in the doing, not in just the hearing or seeing.
Mm. And we've been conditioned through education in our society to just sit there and like let life happen to us, and that's not how it happens. We got to go seek, we got to go create, we got to go build and experience to really experience that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why at my events, I tell people, I inform people, I said, some of you are going to be uncomfortable because I'm going to ask you to high five people around you, to engage in conversation, to shout out answers, to finish my sentence. And it's called super learning.
Yes.
And I want people to leave the event with some sort of an emotional experience, not just with content and knowledge. Just, if that's all it took, Chris, just go to Google. The information's there. It's through the emotional exchange and the sharing that you create the memory and the lasting change. Education actually comes from the Latin root edu, which means to pull out. So we put information in, you got to extract it right away to create a highway of possibility. And that's why people like Tony Robbins are great teachers and learners, because they put it in and then they ask you to say it out. Come out, come out, come out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And that's why repetition is such an important skill when you want to go to mastery.
I love it. I love it, Rock. This is gold. Tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you stand for, what is Go M1, and all these amazing things that you're creating, man.
Yeah, I mean, the quick story is I grew up on a farm in Canada. My parents were divorced, so my father remarried. I became the youngest of 7 kids. Wasn't seen, wasn't heard. So I used work as a vehicle to be seen and heard. Did chores, did all kinds of, fixed barbed wire fences. And my father would always come out and observe the job and basically tell me it wasn't good enough. So I developed this desire to please him, which developed in me looking at my job before I'd call him to look at it and go, what am I missing? What am I missing? How do I make it better? And through that repetition of doing that, when I became employed in the real world, I was a phenomenal employee because I was conditioned to make everything better. Yeah. People loved me. They hired me. They gave me raises. They gave me promotions. I was racing through. I worked in the airlines as a flight attendant, then a purser. Then I was 25 years old and I was hiring and training flight attendants. And check this out, 25-year-old kid hiring flight attendants. How happy was I?
That's epic.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was a matter of developing those skills, but I also developed something that didn't serve me. And that is, I developed the belief that life was about hard work. So I turned easy jobs into hard work. I looked for the hardest way to bring a box up the stairs, not take the elevator. I can take it up the stairs. Why not? So I made life difficult for myself and grinded myself down a little bit. By the time I was 28 and a half, I was almost a millionaire. I owned 3 properties. And then my father contracted cancer, and I took 2 years off to take care of him. He lived in Australia. I flew back and forth. And during that period of time, my marriage fell apart. I lost my job. I sued them because I'm a principled guy. I lost, David versus Goliath. And my father had back taxes because he made good money, but he managed it poorly. And I ended up filing for essentially being bankrupt, kicked out of my apartment by the time I was 30 years old. I know it sounds so cliche, but on my mom's couch in debt. And God bless moms, right? That take us back no matter what. And that's when I decided to get into real estate. And I was fortunate enough to come across a mentor after my first year. My first year, by the way, Chris, I sucked. I was terrible. I was still a carpenter and a farmer trying to sell real estate. That's not a good background for it. So a mentor took me under his wing and he taught me how to work with people, how to connect with people, the things to say and do. And here's something that I've learned from mentorship is sometimes we just need to be told that we're on the right path. Think about this as you're doing something and you're like, is this going to work? And somebody goes, yep, it's going to work. Keep on going. Oh, okay. Boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
Then you're like, is this going to work? So you stop and then you try to do some research. And by the time you come back to it, it's broken or you don't feel like it anymore. And you lose such momentum that you grow. It takes you 5 years to build something that could be done with a mentor. And that's what happened to me. I went on to sell 100 homes a year. Then I bought the company and built it up to 270 agents, sold $1 billion a year. Not because I was great. I had a good work ethic and I was very curious, But more importantly, is I had a mentor that guided me along the way and told me, yeah, thumbs up. And yeah, it's okay. You fell on your face. Get up, kid. That happens. Brush yourself off. Stop complaining. Stop crying. Get at it again. And knowing that made me feel and answer this question. And I think is a very important question we all ask, but we don't know it consciously. Is this going to be worth my effort? And when you can't answer that, you're like cold calling, and you don't know that you only get 3 out of 100. And you're like, you're on 90, 95 and nobody said yes. You're like, you got doubt again, hesitation. You slow back. You don't show up with confidence. But if somebody's in your corner going, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. You got this. You're saying it perfectly. Don't worry. The laws of average are on your side. It's about to happen. You show up differently. And I think people that don't avail themselves of a coach or a mentor or go to seminars like you said, they're ripping themselves off of accelerated success. So I applaud people that choose to do that.
Damn. Yeah. Go the extra mile, invest what most people aren't willing to do. Like, I don't want to say sacrifice, but give up their weekends of just sitting on the couch, relaxing or hanging out, and go learn and go like develop yourself, mastery. I love that. How you said that. Have a rage and a burning obsession for mastery. That is truly what will set you apart, like a head and shoulders above everyone else, because you're about the mastery, the basics. It's not about the result. It's about continuously never-ending improvement.
And by the way, there's a slight little piece of innovation that happens when you go for mastery. Wayne Gretzky, by example, turned the behind the net into an office. Nobody ever else did that. But do you know that he took a piece of paper when he was a kid and he drew the hockey rink on a piece of paper, and while he watched the game, he followed the puck and just watched the game and traced the path of the puck. Then he looked at it every time, and his brain absorbed what is the pattern of the puck of hundreds and hundreds of games. And that's why he developed an ability to go to places before the puck got there. How cool is that?
Wow, that's incredible. Right?
And look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry changed the game of basketball by being able to throw free throws. These are hard for me to say, from not at the line, but 6 inches, 12 inches, 2 feet behind the line before people were prepared to defend. He changed the game through this obsession for mastery. What's the piece that's missing? What's the thing I can add? And that's the beauty. If you're passionately curious and obsessed about mastery, you will find a new path.
What made you appealing to your mentor, would you say, in the beginning that had him want to mentor you, and also this massive success that you created early on?
And that's a really great question, because a lot of people are like, well, how do I find a mentor? What value do I bring? So what I brought was, he saw my work ethic because I consistently showed up. I paid my bill early. I was an independent contractor. I paid my bill in advance. I took responsibility I wasn't a victim. And he looked at that and he goes, this is a kid who's got a curiosity, a work ethic, and is willing to be in his integrity. If I was to give this guy the systems and the methodologies, he's going to be on fire. What does a mentor want? A mentor wants to pour into somebody and see the result. That's what a mentor wants. The gift the mentor gets is passing on his wisdom, not having it die in his grave.
That's great, man. I love it. I love it. And one of the other things we wanted to talk today about is the power of identity, and especially the words I am. Tell us your perspective on I am, Rock.
Well, I started the I am movement after I released my Goalcast video last year, and I had we're up to about 100 million views now. Dude. And we have tens of thousands of people that have sent me personal messages and the impact it's had on them. And here's really what happens. It breaks down like this. How we describe ourselves to ourselves is a big part of how we show up. We also weigh into that how we think other people think we should show up. So if you go, every time, Chris, you go to a party, you're really funny and sociable and you make people laugh. And then you go to a party one day and you're serious, they're going to go, what's the matter with you? What's going on? Because they have an expectation in how you're going to act. And you're going to feel uncomfortable because you're used to being the funny guy. And all of a sudden now you got a headache, or you're worried about something. And that the gap between how you're used to being and being seen how you describe yourself and be rewarded for describing yourself, and your different behavior creates stress. So if you want to create a new behavior, what you do is you go, okay, how would I like to be in my higher self? Well, I'd like to be more resourceful or more fun or more spontaneous. So then you I am yourself into it. You go, I am spontaneous. I say yes to things that are safe, but give me opportunity. I'm the type of guy that when somebody is talking about something new, I'm like, hey, tell me more. Language yourself into it. I'm gifted, guided, grateful, powerful, passionate, playful, sexy, sensual, sensitive, and blessed. Yes. You give yourself an identity to live into. And then when you're not in the mood or when something disrupts that, you go back to that path because there's thousands of files in your name, your mind. The problem is most people were programmed at a young age by people that were not good programmers. My mother and father did their best, but let's face it, telling me that I'm a skinny little kid and I better drink my powder shake, otherwise I'm going to die, doesn't make me feel like a very strong person.
Nope.
But saying something like, you know what, you were born with amazing metabolism, and the way that we can give you the best opportunity to be as strong as possible is to add this into your life. You get to have this because you're so amazing. That's a different programming. So the words that follow I am, they follow you. So if you have words that are unresourceful, what I say to people is write a long list. Grab a glass of wine, a cup of tea, a bottle of water, sit in a comfortable chair, and write out everything you can think of that describes you, how you see yourself. I'm tall, I'm short, I'm skinny, I'm fat, I'm happy, I'm religious, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm whatever. And write them out, and then circle the ones that you want to upgrade. Ones that poor programmers gave you. You know, you have an ugly chin, you have no eyebrows, whatever, right? And you go, yeah, I have no eyebrows, but I also don't have to spend any time, cleaning them, washing them, brushing them, trimming them, and that's cool, right? So you can shape it the way you want. I got alopecia when I was 40 years old, lost all the hair on my body. I went from blonde, blue-eyed, Dutch, European, athletic, good-looking, I thought, to now this shift to old and bald. That's what my brain offered to me. So I changed it to, bald and sexy.
Yes.
I gave it, I am bald and sexy.
Yes.
And sexy and bald is in. And then what happens is you start to show up that way, Chris. Right? If you don't love yourself, if you don't show up with a powerful confidence and identity, I'm not talking ego, I'm talking grounded and loving to yourself. It's not often that somebody else is going to come up to you. I mean, you're a good looking guy. I can tell you're present. You've done the work or some of the work at least. And most people don't do that. So they have a little voice of doubt. I'm not enough inside. And that voice needs to be managed. And I am statements are a really, really good place to give that a little bit of a kick in the butt.
What do you say to people who feel like it's not working? They doubt the I ams, or I've also heard that the subconscious mind, it knows, it's so smart at this point that it knows when we're trying to say I am to cover up something that we feel insecure about.
Yeah, great question. So you've heard of the reticular activating system. It's a part of your brain that deletes things that aren't important that are important. You sleep in a hotel near an elevator shaft, it bothers you for half an hour, and then your brain goes, we're safe, and it deletes it. When you tell yourself that I am XYZ, but you don't believe it, then your brain starts to look for evidence to support that. You can say, I'm a millionaire, or I'm rich, or I'm successful, or I'm good looking, or I'm great with women, or whatever. And your brain goes, bullshit, you're not. There's no evidence. You're a loser, right? So what I say is you romance it. You say, I'm starting to attract more opportunities. I'm feeling more successful with money every day. In little ways, I feel more confident going up and telling a girl she's attractive. And you start to earn the right to create the references. If you have the rage for mastery and you're curious enough, you're willing to pour in the effort, you will transform. I went from a very, very serious kid, grew up with a German father, to a guy that's pretty spontaneous and playful. I went from working hard to working really smart and having 37 streams of income. I went from carpenter farm boy to entrepreneur. I went from, a broken family to raising three beautiful kids and being an awesome father and breaking the cycle of fathers that weren't present. All of this by creating a vision of what I wanted, then giving it the description through I am that, and then acting as if I'm that person and slowly working my way to develop the evidence to become that individual.
That's powerful. What do you say to the people who feel like they've put in the work, but it's not manifesting or happening as fast as they want, and they're frustrated at a lack of results?
Suck it up, baby. I would say to them this. So emotion is what drives us. Logic is what keeps us kind of on the path, because we're like, okay, logically speaking, if I invest and I make a 7% return, I'll double my money in 7 years. Okay, I can be patient and wait that out. The logic keeps you there. The emotion can knock you out if you're not guided. So I think that the 4 stages of learning, if you're familiar with those, the second stage is when you become conscious that what you're putting in as effort is not giving you a reward yet. That's when the winners double down, right? That's when it's like you go to the gym and look in the mirror before you go to the gym, look in the mirror the next day. Do you actually see muscle growing? No, you don't. Do you see the 1 pound you lost? Not really. So it's the faith that over time, the consistent effort is going to give you a reward. So you got to know the path you're on. And when you're planting the seeds and you're watering them and you don't see any growth, you've got to evoke faith. So for me, it's like, yeah, well, everybody else is going, I wish my seed would grow into an oak tree in one day. I'm like, while they're all quitting on watering it, I'm going to be the best freaking gardener in town. Let's go rock. One more rep. Say it again. And I become obsessed with putting in effort while others are quitting.
How have you been able to refine your actions to be able to take the most leveraged action? Because you've achieved huge success and gotten viral videos. How did you refine and evolve over time to find the most effective things and actions and ways to invest your time and energy to get the best return on investment?
Surround yourself with people that are getting exponential results. Model them. So I have one of my mentors who taught me that 50% of my time should be to cast the vision of my companies of what I want to create. I need to just tell people over and over again. You ask me, go M1, what is that? That is to end human suffering. And we end it primarily in 3 areas: with your money, with your energy, and your relationships. So what we do is we find all the experts in those areas and we bring them in the community and we help them teach you. I have some skills around that and I'll share my skills, but I also bring in my mentors. So for instance, let's say you're tired of trading time for money and you want to, leverage yourself, be more effective and spend more time with your kids. Well, you need to learn about passive income. So I learned about passive income, got really good at it. And now I teach people how to sell product online, how to do Airbnb, Turo, or to write a book, all those things. There's a formula for it. Anybody could do it. Guess what? If you have a rage for obsession and you're passionately curious, oh my God, there's that formula again. It's the same thing. And if you're willing to invest in yourself and put in the effort and you're willing to fail a little bit, but have your mentor there go, that's it, it's okay. I know it's tough writing the book. I know you can't figure out the cover. Don't worry, you'll get it, right? I know you need to get some quotes in there. You're not sure which ones. It's normal, right? So when you have all of those pieces there, success is inevitable. I can't tell you how long it's going to take you. I got a guy who we helped with Airbnb. He's got 42 doors now. He's on track to gross 1.2 million and have about a 40% profit in less than a year from zero, with, by the way, not owning one property. You're like, what? Not owning a property? The only thing he did was furnish them. But he convinced people to rent him properties and Airbnb it. And there's a reason why people do that he discovered. He hacked it. And he can explain the benefits to doing it. And now he has 42 properties making that money in 1 year. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you've really leveraged your relationships with people and gotten the experts in place to end human suffering with the areas of money, energy, and relationships. How did you have that realization that it's about leveraging those relationships and pointing people in the direction to get these services?
Yeah, so right from the top of your show, you said, how do people change with seminars?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a Tony Robbins coach for 17 years now. I've done 74 events. I calculated the other day, I was curious. I've spent over 550 days in a room with Tony Robbins.
Damn.
And his average day is 16 hours. I haven't done the math on that one yet, but it's probably multiple PhDs in the work of human psychology.
Holy
I've
crap.
watched him, do interventions. I've walked on fire close to 50 times. So my references for creating transformation is pretty vast. And what I noticed is that people, so imagine this, fish tank, dirty fish tank, fish is in the dirty fish tank, goes to a clean fish tank, AKA a seminar, swims around, feels awesome. And just by moving around in that environment, gets cleaner, the dirt falls off, not really doing anything, just talking to people in the seminar, just feels better. Then you take them out of the seminar and you put them back in the dirty fish tank. They're all clean. And immediately what happens? They're a bright light. They're clean. And what gets attracted to them? There's all the people that say, "Oh, you're shining so bright. What's up with you? What do you do? What Kool-Aid did you drink?" And they're like, "Well, I'm going to do this, that, and that." And they go, "No, you're not a loser. It's not going to work." All the dirt back on them.
Yeah.
So when I witnessed this year after year, Chris, it pissed me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, people are coming back 2 years later to try to get clean again.
Yeah.
And I know what's going to go happen. So Go M1 is all about taking that fish tank and having the fish tank be with you when you go back home. An environment that every day you bathe, every day you have a lesson, you have somebody to talk to you, somebody you're visiting, somebody holding you accountable, somebody encouraging, supporting you, challenging you, and reminding you, "Oh, hey, you got a little bit of dirt there, clean that off. "Oh, watch out, that's really dirty over there. I wouldn't go down that path. Come on over here. Let's scrub a dub with each other, clean each other off. Come on," right? And then you become cleaner and your whole world's cleaner and you start to get more results. And what happens when you feel good and you get better results? You feel like doing more, your confidence goes up. And so we've created 41 whole life millionaires in the last 2.5 years. And we see whole life, Chris, because we demand that people maintain their health and energy. They have little tests that they do monthly. And we help them get better at communicating in the relationship. So whether being a better son or father or mother or daughter, we're conscious about that conversation as well. It's not like you can just become a millionaire and be, fat, diabetic, smoking, and rich and divorced. Not in our tribe, right? So that's kind of what for me is, how do you end suffering? You end suffering by finding where the most pain is and providing a cure. And my obsession became, how do I take the seminar and bring it to the world?
Yep.
That's really kind of what we've created.
That's awesome. What is the specific mechanism you see working to empower people on a daily basis? Like how does your system empower people in their habits, in their daily life, so that they never get too far away from the seminar, so to speak?
Well, there's a lot of things. We have 20 maxims in our sayings and culture, so that keeps people on the guardrails of success. Have you ever done coaching, hired a coach?
Yes.
So, a coach is a great way for you to improve, exposes your blind spots, etc.
Yep.
But what I discovered with coaching, and I'm a coach too, is that there's only so far you push the client, because you want to be respectful of the relationship. You don't want to call your client a dick or call him a loser and say you're not doing anything, right? So there's only so far it will go. And you allow a certain amount of mistakes to happen or tolerances because you want to be compassionate and caring.
Yeah.
What we did is we create groups of 6 people. And these 6 people, we meet once a week, and they're all in the same march toward common goals. And what happens is that one week you're on a flight to go on a vacation or to a seminar. The next week, John in your group is taking care of his mom. The following week, so-and-so had a conflict because they're going to a recital with their kid. But there's always going to be 4 or 5 people on the call. And then you show up, you share your goals, and we give a specific process for that, how to go through what we call your one sheet, which is the dashboard of your life. And what we found is the human desire we talked about before, about connection and belonging, so powerful that when you are in a group of people that you don't want to be kicked out of, you step up.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're on a football team and everybody's doing 20 push-ups and you're sitting on the side eating a bag of Doritos, People are going to go, what the hell are you doing here? And they're going to kick you out. They're going to shame you.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to do 22 push-ups and push the other guys because you want to be on a winning team. So that's what happens. We found there's a secret sauce is accountability. And we use something called SEC, support, encourage, and challenge. So let's say you and I are talking, you tell me you want to run a marathon. I'm going to go, hey man, I ran one back in 2003. It was a really wicked experience. Tell me what your plan is. And then I might be able to support you, give you a resource for great running shoes, or give you a hint of something that worked for me. I might also encourage you and say, hey man, let me know how it goes. Like you're in 4 months of training. Shoot me a text once in a while. I want to hear how you're doing. I want to be on this journey with you because I did it before and I kind of forgot how fun it is. And I really want you to have the best experience. So just shoot me a text. Now, all of a sudden, somebody's watching you. You feel important. You feel you matter. You feel like you belong, and you're going to step up because of that. And finally, I might also say to you, Chris, what's your goal? And you're like, oh, well, I want to do it in less than 4 hours. And I go, well, why? Well, for this reason, my aunt did it, and I think I could do better than her, and I want to, whatever the thing is. I'm like, okay, so how can I challenge you to make that happen? You go, well, every week check in with me and make sure that I'm doing my drills and that I got to stop drinking beers after 8 o'clock at night. So, and then we set up the context for that. So imagine that you're supported, you're encouraged, you're challenged, you're sharing something that's important to you with other people. And every week, like at Weight Watchers, you're getting on the scale of your life for that goal. And you're going, am I on track? Let me tell you something. This creates transformation.
Damn, dude, that's so powerful. I hear like so many elements of greatness in there, Rock. Like the accountability, the support, the encouragement, and challenging. Like I feel like you're hitting every angle of how to activate the human psyche, the human being into their greatness and into their potential, man. It's beautiful.
Rage for mastery, baby.
Yes.
A rage for mastery. I mean, come on. This is the world's greatest mastermind. Because I have a rage for mastery. I'm passionately curious and I will not quit. I say to people, I don't want your money. I want your transformation.
Yeah.
I want your success story because that's the fuel I live off of.
Wow, that's incredible. And you're like really getting your message out there in big ways. How have you been able to do that and be able to get on so many podcasts, have these videos go viral? Like what would you say has really been working for you to become worldwide and world known?
You know, it's like a 10-year overnight success, right? I've been doing this for a long time. There's a handful of people on planet Earth that have done 74 Tony Robbins events. That takes a huge commitment. Sometimes I wonder what I'm doing there. I'm like, man, I'm in Palm Springs, or I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. It's gorgeous outside, and I'm 16 hours inside looking at, not even a window. But I have a rage for mastery when it comes to helping people. I have wounds from the way I grew up that I don't want anybody else to experience. Being left out, felt to not belong, to be told that you're skinny, useless, stupid, you can never amount to much. You don't even know how to string of words together. I bullied by my brother, almost killed by my brother in a fight. I learned how to run fast because I spent a lot of time running away from my brother. So experiencing your mess becomes your message. And I don't want my experiences, AKA pain, to not go unleveraged. And the way to do that is to recognize the similar pain. When I see somebody who's gone through, or all the messages I got from people in my Goalcast were people that went through what I did in their own way, right? Abandoned by their parents, left alone. Parents were working 3 jobs and they went home and they were home alone and they cooked their own food and got beaten up by their brother or whatever. And so I can relate on a deep emotional level. And because I can, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I care about that person's soul. I know it sounds trite, but it's true.
How can people cultivate that same level of intensity and a burning rage for mastery and a care for themselves to show up at their greatest possible self?
Man, you ask some really great questions. That one, man, that's a tough one. I think, you've got to look at the hand you were dealt. I was dealt in life. If you do what is difficult, life will be easy.
Yeah.
If you do what is easy, life will be difficult. That being said, we were all dealt a hand. I was dealt a hand where a very difficult physical environment, emotionally not supported. And I became very resilient and a warrior because of that. And it allows me to create certain things. That being said, I also have been divorced several times because I didn't learn how to stay the course in a relationship. I didn't learn how to be compassionate and as loving and understanding. That I didn't witness that. I wasn't trained in it. And as soon as things got tough, I was so focused on building my businesses. I was like, okay, well, whatever. So other people may be masterful in the relationship arena. So then teach from your mastery. Your mess becomes your message. If you were in a loving family and you learned about compassion and you learned about being a good listener, and you learned about, cooking a great meal and spending 4 hours around a table, being loving and connecting, then teach to that. That's not what I know. We raced and ate our food because if you ate your food slowly, somebody stole a piece of food off of your plate and then you had less. So I can't speak to the 7-course meal Italian, hey, manja, have some more. It's like, you eat slowly, I take your food. Huh? It's like, teach what you know, and that's your gift.
Yeah. If someone has a burning obsession for making money, like $1 million, like you've done, and they just feel like they keep falling up short and they're not sure, they're not aware of what's blocking them, what would you say is the fastest way to create a breakthrough in that area?
So we teach self-mastery, wealth mastery, and leadership and leverage in our 1-year program. And the middle piece is the money blueprint. And we all have a money blueprint. Money means things to us. It's highly emotional. And most people operate at an unconscious level when it comes to money. I learned that you had to work hard to make money. So what did I do? I worked hard my entire life till I was 28 and a half. And then I lost it all. So because my unconscious mind said, hey, if you lose it all, you get to continue to work hard. So somebody has a blueprint called, when you have a lot of money, people will be jealous. So you shouldn't have too much money because you like people. So they make a bunch and then they get rid of it, give it away, lose it, make a bad investment. They're like, why do I keep on doing that? Other people are like, well, if I have a lot of money, well, then it shows that I'm greedy. So they lose it. Other people are like, well, you can't have a lot of money and be spiritual. So I'm just going to work at this job that doesn't make a lot of money. And I'm going to work at a charity on the side. And I'm going to justify that I'm a spiritual person, right? So the work that we do is to go through what we call the 17 wealth files and to identify which are the blockages that you've been programmed with. And until you do that, unfortunately, people will never change their money blueprint because it's unconscious. So you got to do the work. You've got to become aware, put yourself in an environment where you can get honest. I had this one client who came to our course. She witnessed her parents arguing over money at a Chinese. They would go out a couple of times a month. They could only afford that. They argued over money. The father literally got up from the table and had a heart attack. He fell down on the floor. She jumped on. She performed CPR, and he died right there. Her own dad. And she became a nurse. And for 15 years or so, a nurse. She came to one of our events. We started to work on the programming of the unconscious belief. She told us that story, and she went, "Oh my God, I've been trying to save people for the rest of my life." And when she discovered that, she decided, she goes, "I never even really liked being a nurse. I've always wanted to be a financial advisor." So she went, she took her course, became a financial advisor, and 4 years later became a millionaire.
Damn.
So, she was on this one path based on one experience, and most people have that experience. They just don't know it. So it just takes a little bit of looking under the hood, revealing that, changing the meaning, and then going forward and setting people free to create so much more. I mean, I was able to, 4 years later, become a millionaire again. And then I changed my blueprint and I went to multimillionaire. And then I went to, being able to work 10, 15 hours a week and have even more money come in. And then I went to creating a mastermind group that does adventure trips around the world. And I get paid to travel and stay in exotic places because that was the next level for me that I created. I said, I want to do epic trips and be paid for it.
That's right. That's right. I love it. And you have, I think it was like 40 something streams of revenue that you've created. Why is it important to have these multiple streams of income?
Money to me is just freedom. and choice. And the more that you have, the more you can impact. And when you go traveling like I did, you start to see that there's so many people that have so little. And one of the things we do when we go on trips is we went to Vietnam and we built a school. We went to Peru and we built stoves for people in their huts because they would burn fires inside when it's cold and they would get lung disease. Wow. So we bought these pipes and then we shipped them to them and we went and built those. That requires money. So my belief is that the more capacity you have to create wealth, the more value you bring to the marketplace, the more wealth you can create, the more people you can help. And one of my favorite charities is Smile Train. It's kids born with a cleft palate in third world countries, and they get ridiculed and scorned and shamed, so they don't go to school, and their whole families get affected. For $240, you can change a family's life. So I sponsor that, and I get a little card with a little picture of each kid that I sponsor. And to me, I want to do more of that. So selfishly, creating wealth allows me to spiritually fill my bucket of contributing back. And I probably don't do as much as I could, but I'm doing more and more. And as I change my money blueprint and I get comfortable with tithing as much as possible, then I'll continue to grow in that area as well.
Yeah, I think that's for me. I know that's been a challenge, is to recognize when I give that it all comes back, like 10x, but not to expect the return, but just to give out of that spirit and to continue growing that as much as possible. That's like I think a true measure of wealth is being able to create that impact, like you said.
100%.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I love it. So if someone's listening right now and they find themselves procrastinating a lot and staying stuck in their head, what kind of an identity might they be dealing with, and how can they shift that with the I am statements and, really becoming more aware of their identity and reprogramming it?
Well, if you're a procrastinator, you might as well just put that off. No, this is the psychology part that excites me, is every decision that we make is based on a filter called pain and pleasure. And you know this, but it's worth repeating because a lot of times we don't do what we know.
Basics, master the basics, Rox.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Right. So somebody says, I don't want to do my taxes. I don't feel like working out. I don't want to call those 10 people that will build my business, because they've created a story in the head that will be painful. And something else will be more pleasurable, like sitting on the couch and watching Netflix or going for a walk or playing a game of tennis, whatever. So what I did is I was able to become really, really good at get clear on what you want. What's the result that you want? You want to be financially free? Great. Is there going to be work involved in that? Yes. Are you going to have to do some things that don't feel good in the moment? 100%. Will it be worth it? Yes. Remember, you have to always ask that question. Will it be worth it? If you don't convince your mind it'll be worth it, you'll find a way easily to get off track and to surf Facebook or whatever. So I get clear on what I want. I reverse engineer the steps. So when I wrote my book, it took me 2 years, but I did a page or two every morning when I woke up. I just committed to it. Page or two, page or two, page or two, page or two, first thing. And it took me 2 years, but I got the book done. So you got to reverse engineer the steps. Then you got to understand the 4 stages of learning. The second stage, you're going to get to stage that sucks. And that's where you suck it up. You push through by focusing on your vision and reconnecting emotionally, because emotion is where the juice is, to the reason that you're going to go for that goal. You get obsessed, right? You have a rage for mastery that's fueled by passionate curiosity. And usually what is the tipping point is to imagine that you're doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for your kids. When I was selling, I used to tell my kids, I said, when daddy sells 40 properties, then I'm going to take you to Disneyland. And when I would come home and they weren't in bed, I was a real estate salesperson. I'd walk in the door and it'd be, Daddy, did you sell another house? Did you sell another house, Daddy? Oh my God. Chris, you think that when I'm sitting out there with a client and I'm so close to making a sale, but I'm tired or I'm hungry and I'm thinking, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow? No. I want to take that. I want to make that sale. I want to go home and tell my kids, Daddy got one more. We're going to Disneyland and 5 more sales or 10 more sales. So I created leverage on myself by using an external force. Again, a lot of people aren't willing to do that. So procrastination is just a theory that you've developed that X equals pain and Y equals pleasure. and you're going to go for why because you can. I like to tell people, if you every time you ate a muffin, you got a punch in the face, you probably would go for the apple that you said you wanted to go for instead.
Yeah.
But what happens is that it's a year and a half before 3 pounds show up on your body by eating the muffin. But now, guess what? You've developed the habit of going for sugar versus something healthy, so you're screwed for the rest of your life. So the lag time in procrastination is what allows people to develop the habit. At first, the chains of the habits are too weak to feel until they're too strong to break. So somebody says, you know what, I should do the laundry, but I'll do it tomorrow. Oh God, do the dishes. You know what, I'll do them first thing in the morning. No, do it when you don't feel like it, right? Get up. Sometimes I get in my bed and I forgot to journal or forgot to brush my teeth. And I'm like, oh God, I don't feel like it. As soon as my brain goes, I don't feel like it, I have a command to take action because I know that the mind is a terrible captain, but a great slave. And I've got to remind myself to give my mind the orders, not the other way around.
Woo! That is gold rock. If anyone hasn't just been blown away by this wisdom, I don't know what the heck you're listening to. This is gold rock. Amazing. People might think that you are just totally on fire, unstoppable, and nothing you don't have anything else to work on. What would you say is the big thing you're focusing on, working on yourself this year? What's an area of growth you're really pouring into now?
So I haven't counted them all, but I have 14 coaches right now.
Jesus.
I'm taking dance lessons, piano lessons, drumming lessons, tennis lessons, golf lessons. I don't know if I said swimming. I just got off a call with my relationship coach.
Yeah.
We're going to take a deep dive on the relationship I have with my smaller self. So that's 7 or 8 right there. So I am always a student of life and learning constantly. I'm coming out in a documentary next year called Impact, where I'm producing a movie along with some other people. That's all new for me.
Wow.
So to me, it's not what am I learning new. It's always I am learning something new, and then I turn to something else, and I'm like, yeah, I went to India 2 years ago, 5-day meditation retreat. I'm going to learn Reiki. I mean, I'm open always to something. I feel like, honestly, as much as I've done in the last 25 years, invested over $2 million in personal development, done many, many courses. I mean, if you name most people in personal development, I've either read their book, been to their event, or been to their event multiple times. I still feel like I'm just starting. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. So I'm just excited about learning more. And yes, I have a lot of energy, but I also have a lot of things that I still work on. And I get upset and pissed off when I hit a bad golf shot like anybody else. And I wonder why, with everything I know, that I can't hit it straight down the middle every time, get a birdie every time. And then I question myself, and then I get mad for questioning myself. You should just relax and breathe and enjoy. And I have the humanistic part like everybody else. And then I have moments where I really locked in the formula to getting results. And it's just a matter of constantly trying to oscillate more and more to that place and stay grounded and enjoy the experience. Said to somebody the other day, I go, the billionaire walking on the beach doesn't get a better sunset than the guy who's broke. And ironically, when you start to make a lot of money, you start to realize that the simplest things are the best. But guess what? That billionaire has the choice to get on his private jet and fly to Paris and have dinner if he wants. The broke person doesn't. And that might change the future in the mind of that billionaire while he's walking along the beach. He's going, honey, do you want to get on the jet and go to Paris, or should we just go down to the little hole in the wall Thai restaurant and have something there? He's got that spectrum of choice, which creates the illusion of freedom. If you're smart enough as a broke person, you can create the illusion of freedom and you're happy. God bless you. I haven't figured that part out yet. But the guy who's broke, he might be walking down the beach going, I don't even know what I'm going to eat for tonight. Or I got to eat macaroni and cheese again, and my wife is going to be pissed at me, and I feel like a heel. So for me, it's about creating as much as you possibly can, yet at the same time, trying to stay grounded in an experience and enjoy the simplest parts of life.
I love it. What have your kids taught you? What have been some of the biggest lessons that they've taught you in life?
My son is very wise. He's taught me patience, and he's taught me the the importance of not breaking relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I came from an environment where I was used to breaking relationships. And just if it didn't work out and if it didn't go my way, then I threw in the towel. My son is a peaceful warrior. And so I've learned from him the value of a little more patience and the tenderness of a relationship, not making people wrong. My youngest daughter is a model in Los Angeles. She's reminded me of resilience and creativity. She's really fought in a difficult field and done very, very well. And my middle daughter is a love bug. She loves everything. She loves everybody. She is love. And she's taught me that the most important thing in life is to be loving. So 3 beautiful kids.
That's incredible, man. So if we were to wrap this up with a final takeaway on I am statements, identity, or something we haven't covered yet, what would that be, Rock?
Well, a reminder that the words that follow I am follow you, so choose them wisely. Your voice is your choice. You get to do the inner narrative. You just have to have enough consciousness to make a new shift and to delete the voices that are being suggested by other people. And that's an ongoing, the training's always in. The second thing I would say, Chris, is start saying yes to things that are slightly outside your comfort zone before you have all the information. Somebody says, hey, you don't want to go jump in the pool? And you go, well, what's the temperature? Just jump in. Like, if it's not frozen and you're not going to kill you, just jump in. Like, say yes to some things so you start to develop the muscle, be more spontaneous and young and free. And I think it'll get you really, really far. And the last thing I'd say is that as soon as you make plans, God kind of laughs and things go sideways. You can have the ability to get the lesson quickly or sooner by asking this question: what's great about this? And redirect your focus to look for the silver lining, the gift, the lesson, before you become hostage or victim to what you thought it should have been. Too many people are like, I wish this didn't happen. I hope it gets easier. No, just get better. Just get better. When it steps up and the tide goes against you, the hero opportunity is born. One of my great, idols is Tom Brady from the New England Patriots. And this guy continues to defy. Why? Because when things go negative and everybody else is like, oh, it'll never work, he's too old, his brain is rage for mastery, passionate curiosity on how do I utilize what's available to me to execute greatness. And the less resources that are there for you or for me, the bigger the hero you have to become. And everybody has a hero in them, and everybody wants to be a hero. So when the bell rings and the resources disappear, become more resourceful, execute, and you'll either win or learn. You'll never win and lose.
Dude, Rock, this is fire, man. How do people stay connected with you? What are their next steps, man?
Rock at rockthomas.com if you want to send me an email. rockthomas.com. You can go to my website. You can get a free copy of my book, The Power of Your Identity, and learn how to start changing your identity, that force of the description for yourself, the words that follow I am. And on all social media platforms, I do some free Facebook Lives and Instagram. If you're in that place where you're not ready to invest in yourself, then jump on that train. And that's pretty much it. I mean, on the golf course, biking, swimming, playing tennis.
I love it, man. I so appreciate you, Rock. You're really creating some massive waves in the world. Anyone who's listening or watching, stay connected with this man. Go visit www.gom1.com. That's GOM and then the number 1.com. And Rock, keep it up. Keep this fire burning, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Chris Rock. Chris Rock. Chris Rock. Chris Rock.
I love it, man. We'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, God bless. Really nice to hang out with you.